Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Param. Om. Forgot to mention, it's pouring right now. It just began. So let's hope that the signal is going to allow us to complete our class today. So we have concluded recently the chapter 6, which was dedicated to Upasana / Nididhyasana. And now from this 7th chapter, the topic has changed. We have moved into the second section of the Gita, as we have seen in the introduction here last time, in which the main topic is the nature of Ishvara, the nature of Brahman. Okay, so we're going to go deeper and deeper into the Ishvara Svarupa, the nature of Ishvara. So it's going to be covering basically 3 topics, but it's all about Ishvara. Ishvara Svarupa, Ishvara Upasana, and Ishvara Bhakti. So devotion and meditation upon Ishvara, and understanding the nature of Ishvara. Swami says that the 7th chapter is a short one, but it's very beautiful and comprehensive and powerful. And that takes us finally to the first verse, which says, the Lord said, taking refuge in me and practicing yoga with a mind which is totally absorbed in me, how you will come, that is how, I mentioned last time, is how you will come to know me completely and doubtlessly. So take refuge in me is something like trust. Try to know me and trust that if you get to know me, you're going to live a much better life. If you understand my nature, my inferior nature, my saguna nature, and my superior nature, my nirguna nature, and you will live a much better life. And for that, you need to practice my yoga, and with a mind which is really focused on me and on me alone. Because after all, self-knowledge is the knowledge in respect to Brahman, to the Lord. The I, the self, the atma, is the Lord, is the true Lord, which appears as the creator, the creature, and creator, creature, and creation. So the mind has to be prepared with focus, and then you will come to know me completely and doubtlessly. Therefore, begin listening with attention, Arjuna. So he's setting up the stage, and he's making big promise here. If you keep your mind on me during this process, if you trust, take refuge, trust in me, trust that I'm going to deliver the teachings that's going to transform your life, in this way, you will come to know me completely as opposed to partially. So what would be a partially knowledge of the Lord? What do you think, Lynn?
Maybe the saguna nature.
Yeah. So if you know the saguna nature of Brahman, it's very good. It's better than get to know or try to know or pretend to know the nirguna nature of Brahman without having not known the saguna nature of Brahman. Understand? So, but if you stay with it, I'm going to teach both my inferior nature and my superior nature. I'm going to give you the complete teachings, complete teachings. And that is going to allow you firm self-knowledge and a doubtless self-knowledge. No? So after having gone through the introduction, before now we have the introductory verses. So he's going to be talking about his own nature for the entire section, middle section of the Gita, which is from the seventh chapter to the 12th chapter. He presents big promise, says that I will teach you my nature, not only my inferior, the jnana, but vijnana. He's going to present this new expression of vijnana as opposed to jnana. Jnana is a word that goes to knowledge. So any knowledge, scientific knowledge, is jnana. Usually when we talk of self-knowledge in terms of the Upanishads or Vedanta, we are talking about vijnana, which is knowledge of the true nature of Saguna Brahman as Nirguna Brahman. So the superior nature is a certain knowledge which is only possible to be gained by in the light of the teachings of the Upanishads, because it's the knowledge in respect to our true essential nature. That's the vijnana, the nature of the Lord, which is identical to my very nature. Ishvara, this knowledge, this spiritual knowledge is present in twofold. And he said, I will give you complete knowledge. Okay, my lower nature is Saguna. My higher nature is Nirguna, is identical to your very nature, Jivatma. My lower nature is total knowledge. It's much different from your lower nature, Jivatma, because you know almost nothing. But my superior nature is identical to yours. And you have the capacity to get this knowledge without having to become a super god who knows so much, Because even the gods, they are not necessarily liberated, because they may have a lot of knowledge, a lot of power, but they may not have self-knowledge. Therefore, be careful. If you want to be a super Krishna or Raman or any one of these deity, people are going to worship you, but that knowledge not necessarily will free you, liberate you. Those are my lower nature, all these deities, these physical manifest deities. Of course, Krishna nature is Nirguna Atma, but he appears as a Krishna Shahira, with a certain body, with certain qualities and properties. So that is my inferior nature. So, but most devotees, as we know, they are not ready to engage these teachings that reveal the superior nature of Ishvara, because it's too subtle. They like to engage Ishvara represented by a certain Namarupa, such as Rama, Krishna, among many others, Vishnu. But know that my inferior nature is subject to arrival and departure, but my superior nature is beyond time, beyond arrival and departure, time and space. We have seen the concept of aparaprakriti and paraprakriti. Okay, we want to have this knowledge. Arjuna have got the higher nature as well, which is invisible, intangible, eternal, all-pervading, and so on. If you know both my Saguna nature and my Nirguna nature, you will be good to go. So what is the advantage of having not only the knowledge in respect to our superior nature or large superior nature, but also large inferior nature, is because we may even, some people may even have the knowledge following the direct paths of the nirguna nature of the self. But one has to live in this mithya order through an instrument called the body-mind sense complex, which has to conform to the laws of this mithya order of reality. If you really do not engage trying to understand the nature of saguna, its laws and principle, the way everything is intelligent design and structure, the laws among most important, the law of karma, dharma, the cycle. If you don't understand the science, there was a time I used to call the science of mithya. If you get the science of satya, but you just say, I don't care for the science of nitya. Okay, you may even know I am consciousness, I'm the one realities, and then, but then you're going to have trouble transacting the world. I say, I don't care. I say, but if you don't care because you know that you are such the only reality, and you start just going about violating the laws and the principle of this mithya order, what's going to happen? You're not going to enjoy yourself. You know, you're going to get param. So even to enjoy the fruits of self-knowledge, you must understand the game here. You must understand the laws and principle sustaining and you know, the entire mithya order. He says, you're going to know everything about me if you keep us in this course studying the following 6 chapters of the central part of the Gita. And Krishna says, and Swamiji says, and how? No, he's talking. He's putting words in the mouths of Lord Krishna, as sometimes I put words as well in Krishna and Swamiji. And how I'm going to teach you. Now, and then he says, Krishna is a good salesperson. He's making big advertisement, suspense, and you're gonna get it. You know, you're gonna be free. You're gonna be good. You know, Krishna says, I'm not going to say much more. Otherwise, you are not going to come to the class. And that's what I'm saying. Krishna is the ultimate guru. He's excellent. He's so confident as a teacher. The teaching was just given to him. He's the original guru, so to speak. The first representative in our lineage of Nirguna Brahman appearing as Ishwara or Krishna representing Ishwara. He will impart this knowledge in a way that is going to become a doubtless knowledge. And then he presented Assam Sayam. Yes, program students is an adverbial usage, therefore it is. So translate, Swamiji, please. Okay. I will impart, he's trying to say that I will impart this knowledge, but there are certain conditions that need to be fulfilled. Maybe. But the next point here is that there are some conditions, and we know. Now, I will going to present to you the conditions for you really to be able to enjoy the fruits of this knowledge. So he already present that in the verse, as we can say. You have to have a focused mind. You have to be really serious in the sense, you know, very dedicated, focused, practicing my yoga again and again. Well, we a really, really purified, refined mind, absorbed in this quest for self-knowledge. You're gonna therefore come to know me completely and boundlessly. Therefore, listen to me carefully, Arjuna. So He's going to give the conditions right now. We already have an idea of what it is. I can do my job properly only when you fulfill those conditions. There comes Vedanta with this notion of qualifications are required. You should have a very strong desire to know me. If you do not have this desire to know me, you are going to be bored with these expositions. They are not going to have an appeal. I'm cruising through this central part of the Gita with my Portuguese class in Brazil. I think we are just entering the 11th chapter. And I was surprised that most people stayed with it, okay? But it's not a very popular topic to dive into the nature of God, you know? Because people, even in these spiritual circles here and there, they want to have the fruits of our status of being free, but they don't care for God. They just want to have the status of being a wise person spiritually. I have been searching and seeking and doing meditation, so I want to, to get something out of it, but don't bring God into the equation. And Vedanta says, so if you don't bring God into the process, you are not going to get your fruits, or you're going to get bitter fruits, maybe, or boring, unripe fruits. He says like you go to a board of directors meeting. So if you're not really interested there, you're going to feel like very bored. I have never been to such a meeting. You are not going to be able to hold your focus if you go to a corporation meeting like that, in which you don't even know what they're talking about. How are you going to hold your focus? Therefore, you should have a strong love and interest in this topic so that you can develop the love for it. You need to have this desire to know God as yourself, as your final destination. Whatever destination, whatever you love, you want to know more and more. If we value something, that's one of the very important statements we see in Shine World, is to cultivate and develop a value. I don't know if it came from the Anand, a value for this spiritual wisdom, not knowing God, knowing Brahman, knowing Ishvara. So you have to understand the value. If you don't understand the value, you are going to say, so there's nothing really there for me. And most people believe that the fruit is a sort of a wonderful experience. They keep trying to get mental state, producing certain experiences so that they feel rewarded, you feel like, no, now finally I got something. But if you get this to understand the nature of God, people say, it does not sound very good. I want to understand my nature, okay. But nature of God, you have to understand your nature, your relationship with your creator, because that's the only way you're going to grow, purify, mature, and so on. So your goal should be cultivating, developing incredible, more and more value for these teachings. To know God means synonymous to be free. That is your ultimate goal, to know the fundamental true nature of Ishvara, Jiva, Jagata, which is the nature of God, which is Nirguna God. So how many people have this goal in life? What do you want in life? I want self-knowledge. I want to know the true nature of reality and the nature of God and be free. First, you need to understand the connection between getting to know, really know the true nature of reality with freedom. Why it translates as freedom? Mark, can you tell us why there is this connection between getting to know the true nature of reality, the self or whatsoever, with freedom? Which kind of knowledge is this that gives freedom, and why it gives freedom?
Well, to know yourself is to know reality in the end. So, hold on, can you repeat the question a bit, Arlindo?
It says here that you should know God, and God should be your goal, because to know God is synonymous of freedom, moksha. Which goal should I have in life? And how many people are going to say, my goal is to know God? Because knowing God is synonymous of freedom, moksha. So why knowing God is connected to freedom or moksha? So how so it translates as freedom? To know God translates into freedom.
Well, to know the nirguna aspect of God, of Ishvara, is freedom itself. And to know the saguna aspect of Ishvara gives you relative freedom in this world. Do you understand? Because you act in this world in harmony with life. And so the problems in life don't occur so often. And when they do, you can use that same saguna aspect of Ishvara as a refuge to give you protection and a support of love. So, yeah, to know God is to have freedom, really, in both aspects.
To know nirguna, the complete knowledge to know nirguna and to know saguna, Ishvara. So the question here is, we understand that we get a lot by knowing Ishvara, by knowing the saguna nature of the Lord. We enjoy a much better life with a more sense of freedom, or confidence, okay. So this is the preparation for the nature, the knowledge regards to the nirguna nature of Ishvara, Brahman. And the nirguna nature, knowing this knowledge is synonymous of moksha, says Swamiji here. So in which way to know nirguna God translates as moksha, as freedom? Which way? Why?
I was thinking that
Because people do not, if they don't understand, they cannot develop a strong desire. You need to know what is in there for you,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mark.
Lynn, say.
It's okay. I've lost my train of thought a little bit, Lynn, so you go ahead.
Me too, a little bit. I was thinking that, the fundamental problem that we're all trying to solve is that we feel limited. And unless we understand that Brahman is everything, that I am Brahman, then that sense of limitation will always be there. So to have a real knowledge of Brahman is to understand that I am Brahman, aham brahmasmi. And in that, the limitlessness of Brahman is my own swarupa.
Very nice. Sylvia, you want to add anything?
No.
Okay. So it's more on those lines of what Lynn has said. So to know the true nature of God, of Brahman, of Ishvara, Nirguna, is synonymous of freedom, moksha. Why? Because to know, you can only know by understand that it's your very nature. So if your very nature is the nirguna self, nirguna atma, yeah, and then again, you are just living from the perspective of your true nature, which is the only reality. So this means to say, I got to know God as my, I got to know God in its nirguna nature. Okay, can you say something? Just that I have one of you here on my screen. So if you say, I want to know God.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I want to know God, the true nature of God as nirguna Gadi. And then the first thing we learn in Vedanta is like, so if you want to know the nirguna nature of God, you cannot know it trying to objectify this nirguna God, okay? You can only claim that I am this nirguna God. You can only know that it's your true nature. Now we have two points here. One is, I want to know, I got to understand Saguna God. Now I want to understand Nirguna God, okay? And now I understood, but I'm still seeing this Nirguna God as something other than myself. And the promise here is that if you get this knowledge, complete knowledge, which involves the knowledge of my Nirguna nature as Nirguna Atma, as the only way you're going to get freedom is by confidently and doubtlessly claiming, yes, I understood, that is my very nature. And why it is represented as moksha or freedom? Because it's the only reality, is the only reality, means to say, is the non-dual Atma, the non-dual self. This is the meaning of non-duality. When you know that you in your true nature is the only reality, there is nothing but you, Brahman, you, consciousness exist. So what is the concept? I mean, what is the concept of having to work to gain something for security, for this and that, it's over. And even spiritual knowledge to free myself. No, I'm the only thing. What is the meaning of being non-dual? It means that I'm whole, I'm full, and I'm complete. Whole and full and complete only applies to our true nature as consciousness because it's the only reality. It's exactly like you were saying in different language, Lynn. Okay, I am the only reality. There is only consciousness, and I am consciousness. I have claimed my identity as consciousness. And since there is nothing other than consciousness, there is no a border or frontier between consciousness and something else. There is only consciousness, and I am consciousness. Therefore, I'm free. I'm free from what? From division, from separation, and all the problem that comes with duality. Any realm of duality implies problems, difficulties, and the sense of limitation. You understand? All dualities. But there are better dualities. Yes. Get a nice planet passing through a period of Kali Yuga, maybe, or with a nice, people have a different mental frequency and so on, and then you're going to have a good time. But chances are that you may be born in a lower frequency again until you get moksha. And moksha is understanding that the only reality is this consciousness by which I can have all these different experiences on different realms, different dimensions, or whatever, everything happens within consciousness. Consciousness is the only reality. Being the only reality, there is nothing to be concerned, So the sense of freedom experienced by the yoni is the sense of confidence that nothing can really touch what I am, because there is nothing other than myself. In Satya, which is the only reality, there is nothing other than myself. So when there are two, Papaji used to say, if there are two, there is disagreement, there is insecurity, there is danger. Okay? So if there is only one, it's boring. No, it's not boring. Because if you understand your non-dual nature, you are still going to enjoy duality, but you are not going to get caught up with all these divisions that produce so much problems, is to attribute reality to duality is the fundamental problem, as we know. No? So therefore, to know God, he says here, is moksha. Which goal should I have in life? All the time you have been telling, moksha must be my goal. Moksha must be my goal. Now tell me whether moksha should be the goal or God should be your goal. You understand? So if you go for moksha, I would say my goal is to understand Brahman or consciousness. Let's say I'm a scientist. I call it the science of consciousness. I want to understand consciousness, and then people go there trying to understand the mind and so on. It's not the way to go about it, but I want to have a scientific approach. I want to know consciousness. You're going to have a hard time unless you understand that consciousness is God. You understand? Because if you understand that consciousness is God, you are not going to believe that you are that consciousness and you don't need God because, you know, you have the intelligence and so on, you know, and the pride and the arrogance and the vanity. So this relationship with Saguna Ishvara is fundamental in preparing, refining, qualifying the mind to claim without transferring the attributes of the body, mind, sense complex to God. So here he says, what you are looking for? You are looking for self-knowledge or knowledge in respect to the true nature of God? Which is your fundamental, final, ultimate goal? Is God or moksha? Our answer is the Vedanta says, don't worry, you don't need to exclude one from another if you are within our sampradaya. We say it's the same thing, okay? God or consciousness is the same thing. To know your consciousness is synonymous of moksha. To know I am nirguna, I am of the nature of nirguna. It's a little bit more strange to say I am God because there is so many notions attached to this word God. So to know that I am consciousness, you know, is very good. And then I say, yes, and I am of the same conscious existence as the nature of God. So my nature is identical to the nature of God. Okay, so I share the same identical nature with Nirguna God. So in spirituality, we present the wordings is your destination is goal, you know? Your destination is moksha. I prefer to use that your destination is self-knowledge rather than moksha. But in the Indian culture, this moksha term is very important. Okay, so because if you get self-knowledge, chances are you're going to get this sense of freedom that is not like black and white. It's something that grows. You understand? These are the fruits of understanding, of gaining the self-knowledge. Moksha is a sense of freedom that comes and grows. And it comes from knowing, you know, that for sure, doubtlessly, that you are of the nature of conscious existence, the only reality. No? So in the spirituality, we present the destination is self-knowledge. But the very same self-knowledge in religious language is symbolized as knowing God. Okay, so you want to have self-knowledge, know that you want to know the nature of God. Okay, because it's the same nirguna atma. As I have been saying, the nirguna atma of the Jiva Atma is identical to the nirguna atma of Saguna Ishvara, which is identical to the nirguna atma of Paramatma. There is only one atma. So what do you mean by moksha? Moksha is the ultimate goal of every person, and that is also beautiful, because our true nature is just limitlessness, independence, and freedom. So, and full security. So you see, all this ultimate nature of the Jiva is this freedom, independence, and fullness, and being full, whole, and complete. There is no question of insecurity. And then he say security as well. And then another aspect of our true nature is what? Is a sense of satisfaction represented by the word ananta, or ananda, satchitananda. So if our true nature is of the nature of satchitananda, no? And it feels unnatural for us to experience limitation, and suffering and insecurity, and finitude, and so on. So therefore, you should know what you are working for. Moksha it comes with self-knowledge, which is the knowledge in respect to your true nature, which is free, independent, 100% secure, and 100% satisfied and peaceful. Okay? Therefore, peace, security, fulfillment, these are the destinations of everyone. So what is my destination? I want to feel peaceful. I want to feel totally secure, complete, whole, and satisfied. So, and then you should come to Vedanta, because you won't find it in the world, and you won't find it in religious circles that deal with a certain degree of devotion towards God. So this is the ultimate destination of every Jivatma. Shwara, or the Lord alone, represents total security, because the Lord is non-dual, one without a second, is Ananda. If there are no two, there is no need to be concerned. Isn't it interesting? To live in duality has already an intrinsic problem, built into it. You never know if the other will be someone friendly or not. And somebody may be friendly today, but may be hostile tomorrow. Or may be in such a need tomorrow that forgets your friendship with you, You can never know what comes from duality. There is no way you can find a sense of security. But the nature of Bhagavan, or the Lord, is security. Why? Because the true nature of Ishvara is one without a second. So therefore, this nirguna nature of the Jiva, which is identical to the nirguna nature of Brahman, is a nature which is infinite, because it's the only thing. Anything finite is bound by time and space. Anything bound by time and space is subject to change and destruction and time and so on. The only way is to recognize our Satya nature, our Nirguna nature, and then we're going to remain here in duality, knowing that security is only possible, as I claim and I live from that solid, firm, well-retained and assimilated knowledge of my non-dual nature, my Nirguna nature. And Swami goes about saying that everything is bound by time and space, gets destruction at the end. In science, the scientists look and see, yes, everything that is born is going to die. And then they say the very universe we enjoy now has time, how you say? Expiration date or time something. Okay, seeking security from the finite things of this world is the most unintelligent approach. The only security is found in your true nature as the nirguna Atma. The only security is in the infinite, and the infinite is only the Lord, okay, from the religion standpoint. The infinite is symbolized as well, in the spiritual circles as moksha, So, but the infinite can appear to you symbolized as a saguna nature of one of these gods. If the infinite abstract nirguna nature of the Lord is too difficult for you, and then the scripture gives us Krishna form, Rama form, and so on. They are symbols of our infinite nature. The Lord means limitless, infinite, which is non-dual by nature, which is complete and full, and therefore peaceful and satisfied and secure, independent. And this is moksha. Moksha is the fruits of self-knowledge, the recognition of my nature as secure, absolutely secure, complete, peaceful, satisfied, confident. Keep in mind that you can only get these moksha, which are the fruits of self-knowledge, by understanding the true nature of the Lord. Moksha and the Lord, they should be synonymous for you in terms of your ultimate goal. You want to understand God. If you understand God, you understand yourself. So our scriptures present the Saguna God, because that is the way to go. We should never bypass that. We should never bypass Karma Yoga, Upasana, Dharma, etc. So you go in that triangular format for as long as necessary until we graduate to go into the binary format and get to know your true nature as nirguna. If you seek moksha, know that you need to get the knowledge of your true nature as nirguna Atma. But if that is too difficult, just go to the intermediary stage. Try to understand the saguna nature of God. Saguna nature. You need to become a religious person. Understand the Lord, your relationship with the Lord. You have to seek God. And your mind must be so, focused, fixed upon the Lord, knowing that your ultimate destination is to understand this Lord and to live in harmony with the structure projected by the Saguna Lord. By doing so, you develop the qualifications that allow you to contemplate on the declarations of identity between your Atma and the Atma of this Saguna God. So be a devotee. These are the condition number 1. So what about all other destinations available in life? Destination is more like goals, I forgot in Sanskrit, forgot. Those are human goals. So what about all other human goals? Like growing up your children, giving them education and getting a job, take care of your life, playing your roles. And then he say, those are all incidental goals. We are talking here about the ultimate goal. How do I know what is my incidental goal and my ultimate goal? And then Swami's answer, they are incidental when you fulfill that particularly incidental goal, certainly you will get peace of mind. Okay? But immediately after, the peace of mind is going to fade. And you're going to have another request in your mind saying that I need to fulfill this other goal. Every goal that we find within samsara will never going to fully satisfy us. That we call self-knowledge the ultimate goal, because it's the only goal that is going to finally satisfy our desire or reestablish our true nature as Satchitananda, whole, peace, complete, secure, satisfied. In samsara, the journey of goals never ends. It's one goal after the other. Everything you fulfill in samsara is just something that resolves your mind temporarily. Your journey, the journey of the individual soul, comes to an end after you go through all these intermediary goals or stations, and it concludes itself, it ends with moksha or self-knowledge. Discover your true nature as Purnatvan. Purnatvan says everything. You're full. Why? Why I'm full? Because there is only I. There is only I, Nirguna Atma. Huh? And that is possible by becoming a devotee of Saguna Ishwara, or later on to moving to understand your very Nirguna Atma as identical to the real nature of Saguna Ishwara. Therefore, do not lose sight of your ultimate goal. Yoga means all the required sadhanas, karma, upasana, dharma, shravanam. Yoga represents here all the required sadhanas, depending upon my level. But, we are talking about Vedic Vedantic sadhanas. They are always, gravitating around God. It's like going to the school. Not all children can be admitted in the same class. Depend on the levels, they go to different classes. So the same way, each one of us have to find, our qualifications to see where I should stand and pursue from there on my goals into higher and higher goals. Therefore, depending upon you, your need, your stage, you may need, and depending on your karma as well, you need to take on karma yoga. And he's presenting here the three levels: karma, upasana, and shravana. So karma and dharma, they go together. Upasana is a good preparation for to produce a focused mind, And shravana is when you start really contacting the teachings. Find which is the most relevant sadhana for you, which indicates the individual effort. Do not say Bhagwan will take care of you. Say like, okay, so how can I get started? What do I have to do? Which are my sadhanas now? What I have to understand? Don't be like the person who is hungry and always praying to God to bring food. Okay. He say, okay, in India, a lot of institutions give food to the sadhus on the street, and they are very lazy. And some of them says, can you chew the food for me, please? Okay, so shall I swallow for you? Yes. Shall I digest the food for you? Okay, please. And then there is another condition as well. So he is present here. You have to do your side, be a yogi, but you have to remember the grace of God as well. Madashrayaha means you have to take the grace of the Lord into account as well. Into account, we need to take the grace of the Lord. If you do not have a good relationship, a devotional relationship with the Lord, and then the moment you hear that Nirguna Ishwara is not the real deal, and Saguna Ishwara is not the real deal, and the Nirguna Ishwara is your very Atma, and then arrogance kicks in, and I have seen it in some people. They don't want to know about Saguna Ishwara anymore because they said, oh, I am Nirguna Ishwara. So watch out with arrogance. Keep this relationship with the Lord because you're going to need Lord's grace in every stage, in every step in this process. Do not be arrogant, vain, proud. So he says, do not challenge God. Oh my God, how many people challenge God nowadays? One thing that you should keep your mind very clearly, never challenge God. Take refuge in God, but never try to defy God, challenge God, pretend to be better, more knowledgeable than God. Oh yes, now we have artificial intelligence. It's more intelligence the mind created by this supposed God. So we can create much better human beings. We're gonna create cyborgs, beautiful entities, a fusion of silicon life with carbon life, and we're gonna teach a good lesson to God. No, none of these cyborgs are going to be self-conscious. They are going to be very complex programs, but they are inert. They don't have a subtle body. Therefore, watch out. Never challenge God, Swami is saying repeatedly here. Take refuge in God. When the train is climbing the mountain in India, going from, we used to live sometime in Pune and going to Bombay, there was a small mountain that the train had to go up to go into Pune. When the train is going up, climbing a mountain, they stop at certain station, and then they add another engine behind to push. So you have one pulling and one push. Did you experience that, Lynn? No? Mark, maybe. So you have these two things. And then once it has climbed the mountain, and then they stop again to disconnect the second engine. So what is the analogy here? Spiritually, spiritual growth is an uphill task. It's not a downhill task. Downhill task is to allow yourself to be moved, governed by your vasanas. And they are not good vasanas. We think that we are going to, doing things. Let me see, spiritual growth. We think we are going, but family member, they say, no use from in spite of his coming to the Gita class, I do not see any change. So he's saying, like, some people come and tell me, they complain to their spouse, and so he's doing this thing, but he has not improved, she has not improved. So I'm saying, I don't know what to say to them. I'm not living with them to know. They are only victims because they know better where you stand. So the spiritual growth is only slowly and gradual, millimeters by millimeters growth. Oh, And we have to edit it and remove it, because if somebody get in contact with Vedanta, sees, reads Swamiji saying something like that, he says, let me get out of here. I don't want such a small, gradual growth. And we have to add to that it's very gradual and slow, and there are setbacks. There are setbacks as well. You understand? Then you cannot give up, and then you go gradually, slowly but surely, climbing this uphill mountain that takes us into a spiritual elevation. Therefore, the spiritual growth is only by millimeter, and therefore you require two engines. Which are the two engines? Now, your effort on one side and
Anugraha.
okay, so you need both. You need your own efforts, and then you need the grace of Ishvara on the other side, as if one is pulling and one is giving a push. You can choose. Let's see what Swami says here. Ishvara is pushing or pulling. Now you should be pulling, and Ishvara gives you a hand and a little push from behind. Okay. And this is called devotion, and these are only introduction. Each one of these ideas is going to be magnified by Christian over the next verse. He says those are small capsules, but each one of these capsules is like a time bomb. They are going to explode beautifully. We're going to have fun, he says. So now, what are the three conditions? Keep God as your goal. My fundamental goal is to know the nature of God. To know God is to know the self. To know the self is to know one's true nature, full, whole, and complete. Therefore, I feel peaceful and I feel secure. I feel fulfilled. I feel independent, free. That's the first goal. So keep God, knowing this knowledge, understanding the nature of God is your first goal. And then another goal is I need to develop an incredible value. The funny thing with development of value, that you only have a value to something that you know. If you don't know, it's difficult to have a huge value. We project value to the things of this world because we have enjoyed some value in things of this world. They fade, but at least they have some momentary value. But to know the nature of God, to put up this uphill effort to climb until you get to know the true nature of God, you need to have, to begin with, what Shraddha. You need to have such a confidence. Sometimes it's like, I don't know, something tells me that these teachings can deliver what I'm searching for so long, I did not understand fully the nature of God. And if I do not know something completely, chances are that I am not going to put up so much effort to further know it. But somehow something inside tells me that these teachings are pointing me to the right direction. Therefore, in the beginning, Shraddha has to play a role, and it's not by chance that we have already a little bit of this light of trust in the scriptures. From there, we're going to develop more and more trust and confidence, and then we're going to invest more and more our efforts because we begin enjoying those small fruits of self-knowledge at the very, very beginning of this process. You have to start, enjoy some results, and then you feel, wow, it's better invest more because there is something to it. So self-effort depends on having a huge value for this process of spiritual elevation that goes by the full, complete, doubtless understanding of the true nature of God. So self-effort is connected with a value, and value is connected with Shraddha. The number 3 is take refuge, never forget that nothing is possible without the grace of the Lord. And if you would like to talk about the grace of the Lord, so we go in a very, very subtle discussion that can easily become very philosophical, because the grace of the God somehow is intrinsically connected with our self-efforts. You understand? So we need to put up effort, we have confidence, and then somehow the entire Lord system, the Ishvara system, somehow it graces us, you know, with more and more value, more and more effort, and more enjoyment of the fruits of this process. You know? And then I understand the grace of God, like James used to say, it must be earned, your grace, okay? Grace must be earned. But the thing is like, okay, some people appears to have been graced without doing anything, but they did so much in previous births. Consider that possibility. You know? Some people, like myself, I had to put up so much effort to start, you know, enjoying some grace, you know, some good punya, good fruits. You know? Why we talk in terms of grace of Lord? Never forget, because otherwise the ego goes out of proportion. They start saying like, okay, I can make it, and I don't need to understand the Ishvara system. I don't believe in God even. I just know that I'm a go-getter and I can accomplish anything, you know. So we need to remain humble. The concept of grace of God, the concept of the God as this intelligent system is going to help us to keep this ignorant ego, you know, in its place. Without the grace of the Lord, which another way to understand the grace of the Lord is the totality of all factors corroborating to bring about my punya papa, you know. Everything, my bramavid is coming, you know, and it's manifests through this entire equation process involving infinite numbers of factors, and most of them beyond our comprehension and knowledge even. So if you have this Daivan vision of Ishvara, Daivan is the totality of all factors that brings about our bramavid moment for moment. And then we can say, oh Lord, so let's see, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. No? So inspire me so that I can overcome my limitations and put up more and more trust and self-effort, you know, and help me out. So I try to prevent some other obstacles that I know exist, could happen at any time, like leaving the body prematurely, and help me out in regards to other factors that I'm not even able to conceive, okay? Like, you know, a meteorite just hitting the planet when I'm just about to finish my process here. Never forget, grace of God, the third condition. If you fulfill these three conditions, you are bound to reach your goal and know what samagra jñasyasi. You will certainly know me and attain me, because the secret is, and that's what I'm saying, I'm not going to tell the secret now. I will keep the suspense. But I can tell you that knowing itself is going to be attaining me. The self-knowledge is the knowledge of God. Attaining me means you're going to attain your true nature. That is the open secret being laid out here. God is never away from you. It's your true intrinsic nature. This is a secret. You will know and attain God. Knowing God is attaining God. Attaining God is knowing God, which means to say knowing the self. This is going to be the main topic through the central part of the Gita. Therefore, please, Arjuna, listen carefully. Okay? We come back to Kano next Monday and Tuesday, and we keep going with the Gita on Fridays, right? Is it a good arrangement? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. Okie dokie.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Shwara. I have to thank, and I need to thank the Lord on the 3 levels as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It was beautiful.
Thank you. That I enjoyed and you enjoyed. And knowing that you enjoyed gives me joy as well. Okay. Love you. Hug you. Namaste.
Okay. God bless you all, Linda. Many thanks.
Thank you.